3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome to another My Kids Locker Empathy Tale. This is Victoria Wolders, your host, and I'm so excited to share with you another empathy tale. This one is called Anger Wall, and we're actually on episode 38, or story 38, and I can't believe we've done 38 so far. Many more to go. Well, if you'd like to reach out to me, you can connect with me, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Spreaker, and then of course connect with me through my podcast on iTunes and on Google Play right now. Well, here we are, and we are going to be starting our lovely story, and this story today is called The Anger Wall. And we are going to be learning about Tic, Tac, and Mac. And these are 3 different types of trolls that have some interesting things happen to them. And there's an angry mother and an angry father. And how the family ends up eventually turning into a compassionate family. So if you are comfortable, then I will begin. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the Oak and Eagle Kingdom, there lived a lovely family up in the land of the Northern Eagle. They were very happy. They lived very close to the mountains, and they built a house in the valley. They were very close to some trees that had doors that went down to the water troll kingdom. So often the trolls would come up and they would wander their property. They would gather what they needed to gather and they would go back down. We all know that many people misunderstood the trolls. The trolls started to have some flooding down in the water troll kingdom. So they started to come up more. There started to be concern about how they were going to stop the flooding. There was a group of trolls that figured out how the water would run down the mountain, and then the water would seep down through the land because the soil was quite porous. The water would flow into the water troll kingdom, and there was flooding in the water troll kingdom. There were 3 trolls called Tic, Tac, and Mac. They decided to come up. They just started to build a wall. They built a wall where the water was seeping down into the water troll kingdom. They were close to the trees that had the entrance ways down to the water. They started building brick by brick. They started to take from the land so that they could build the wall. They built a stone wall, and they started to get closer to the family's village. Tic, Tac, and Mac started realizing that the flooding down in the water troll tunnels was lessening because of the tunnel. They realized that the last part of the wall was going to go into the family's property. They decided to build it anyways. They put all of the rocks and the stones down to make a wall. The family was quite poor and didn't have much to give. Tic, Tac, and Mac were not mean trolls. The family, however, had a negative perspective of the trolls and began to believe that they were putting a wall up because they wanted to own the land. The family and the trolls did not talk to each other. The family forgot to talk to Tic, Tac, and Mac because they were so busy getting angry. Tic, Tac, and Mac were so busy building their wall that they really did forget to talk to the property managers. They should have talked to each other, but they did not. The family started to tell the villagers about Tic, Tac, and Mac, and how horrible the trolls were because they were building on their property. "We're going to start kicking down the walls because of what they're doing," said the family. "The water trolls are very much understood, and they don't understand English well. They have a hard time communicating. So often they would stay to themselves and decide that they didn't want to talk to any of the commoners." The family came to the edge of the wall, and they said, "We are angry. What are you doing here? You are building on our side." Tic, Tac, and Mac, not knowing very much English, tried to communicate to them and say, We're trying to save our land." They said, "We need to keep our land." Now, the thing is that the family didn't understand them because when they said, "We need to keep our land," they thought that Tic, Tac, and Mac were taking their land on the other side of the wall, when really they were trying to save their land from flooding. The family became more angry. They started to kick down the walls. The trolls started to get angry as well. They started to say, "This is our wall. We are angry at the fact that you are choosing to kick down our wall." If the family had just taken the time to actually learn from the trolls why they had built the wall in the first place, then there may not be any anger. And there might have been peace. Yet what seemed to happen was the mother and father soon became very angry. They began to get angrier, and they got angry at other people. See, in their situation, they felt that the water trolls were invading their land. They began to build another wall, and they started building a wall that went into their neighbors. The neighbors were getting angry, and they started to say, "You are an angry family, and you are not welcome here anymore." The angry family continued to build bigger and bigger walls, and unfortunately, neighbors came to know them as the anger family. Tic, Tac, and Mac started to notice that the water was not flooding the water troll kingdom as much. Before you knew it, water was not going in there, and they were quite happy. They said, "We are so happy that this wall has blocked the water to go down into our water troll kingdom." The anger family once again approached the trolls, and they said, "We don't understand why you built the wall, but we think it's partly to do with the flooding that's going down in the water troll kingdom. Is this true?" And one of the trolls turned to them and said, "Yes, it is." The anger family said, "Well, help us understand." At that point, all of them sat down and they began to talk about their perspectives. The water was flowing down the mountain and was flooding into their water troll kingdom. They decided that because the wall was being built to save other people and the trolls, that this actually was a good thing, and the angry family didn't need to be angry anymore. They came to understand why the wall was being built. The angry family began to empathize. And they began to see that there was another perspective. The angry family began to become compassionate and build a relationship with Tic, Tac, and Mac. They built a community together, and they began to realize that it's all about building their community and about perspective taking. And in the end, they learned to live together and to build a better understanding of each other. The people of the community began to see the healing that was happening with the trolls as well as with the family. And they too began to really care. In the end, they all became a better community. The end. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for another empathy tale. I hope you enjoyed today's tale. I think that there's a lot to learn about perspective taking, why people build walls. Maybe there's reasons for it. And whether that means that they're just imaginary walls or actual walls. I hope today's lesson you take some time to think about what do you get angry with and why? And are there walls that you're building that people don't understand why? Is it because you're hurt? Is it because you don't want to share something that hurt you or something that happened to you? Maybe in the end, it's all about journeying with people in their pain and trying to embrace that. Well, thank you so much for listening to this story. And please come back and listen to more. This one was called The Anger Wall. And I'd love to hear some feedback, love to hear some ideas on Empathy Tales. So please reach out to me at mykidslocker.com. Until next time, I hope that you create compassion one story at a time. Signing off, this is Victoria Wolders. Thank you.
3, 2, 1.